Right, so we are filming the first video of 2022. Let me see, I feel like I'm not in frame right now. Let's try and fix that. 2022 is the year of no excuses, in my opinion. A lot of times I procrastinate. Sometimes I tell myself not to go into work when I could just easily make money. And we're not having it this year. We're gonna be going. A lot has changed, a lot happened. So I'm going to attempt to actually do my makeup for work tonight. So we're just gonna do it. I just cleaned all my makeup brushes. Highly recommend cleaning all your brushes at least once a week because this junk gets really caked up with makeup and it transfers. Before I do anything with my face, I always wash my face, obviously take a shower, exfoliate, and then I apply a little bit of coconut oil to my face. So back to New Year's Eve. I went into work that day and it was just a weird day. I went in and it was very quiet. It was a really weird day and it was quiet, no one was there. And the nightclub I work at, it was just one of those days where it just like the vibe was really off and it just felt like negative energy. Like I just was like, okay, what's gonna be the problem today? Backstory on all of this, I used to work, side note, my mother did not know this, but back in I think a couple of years after I graduated high school, actually, I was dating my long time boyfriend at the time. I was working at this club back then. I was so young. I think I pretty much just graduated high school, like I said. Basically was a shot girl. Just like, I was the girl you would see at any club or party with the platter. I would sell individual shots of like Jello shots or like syringe shots, like just the stuff you see. And you know, I would make like a couple dollars off of that for each shot I would sell, and then the rest of the profit would go to the club. But when I started working there again, everyone recognized my face. A lot of people that I used to know did not return to this club. I had good experience at first and the money was never the issue for me. I want to state that very, very highly here. That's why I stayed for as long as I did, for almost a year. The reason I had to leave, and I want to preface this with saying that I am so about my money, that this is probably one of the rare reasons that I will leave no matter what, no matter how much money is being thrown at me, because I don't tolerate it. And I touched on this on a recent video I did upload on my channel, which I'll link below. I think it was called, you know, working in the industry or something like that, but I'll link it down below if you haven't seen it already. Racism. Racism. So one thing I want to say is I am not one of these people who is super sensitive. Matter of fact, I think I love a good, you know, tacky race joke here and there. I just don't take it that serious because I just don't get offended as much as a lot of people these days do. There is a very thin line between you're doing something to be funny and you're doing something to be discriminatory. And I tried to just kind of do my own thing and just kind of make my money, but it got to a point where it was really weird. I was starting to have issues making my money because when people would see me making the money I was making, they would try and run interference. They would try and talk about me behind my back. They would try and tell me to go home early, even if I was scheduled to work that day, which is a big problem for me. Like, I'm here to make my money and you're telling me to go home. Why? I don't know. So that became an issue for me, and I didn't know if it was race. I honestly just assumed that this was just someone who didn't like me, who had an issue. This person had issues with a lot of different girls from what I understood. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's just some sort of weird obsession with me. I don't know. But I'm going to still make my money because at the end of the day, if I'm making what I need to make, I really could care less about the rest. Now, where this whole thing kind of leads up to New Year's Eve is I was facing a lot more of this kind of interference type of behavior. So if I was working and I was talking to someone at a bar, right? And I was getting tipped, then that person would hover, tell me to not do something because they said it went against rules or I shouldn't be doing that, when everyone else does the same exact thing. Do you get what I'm saying? It became almost like a targeted thing, and where it crosses the line for me when it starts to interfere with me making my money. When I'm getting it easily and I know I should be making this and you're interfering with that, that's when I have an issue with you. New Year's Eve was the day I finally had enough. I went in, like I said, this day, it felt off, the energy was weird. Two people managing it were not my favorite, but that's not my business. But these people showed a lot of very biased, I want to say even borderline racist behavior. Kind of complain about it here and there to, you know, the house mom or just certain people that I felt comfortable bringing this information to. Because if you know, you know, and certain industries, especially this one, you don't want to be seen as talking bad behind someone's back. It's twisted and just kind of turned around. It comes back and bites you in the butt. Just never do that. I came in this day. This club, just so you guys know as a side note, has not been performing well since COVID, okay? I'm saying it like that because I don't want my video to be flagged by the police on YouTube. So they have been like not performing as well. The crowd has dwindled since they had reopened. The people aren't really happy with the service they're getting. And honestly, I believe all that comes down from management. The icing on top, the cherry on top, was a little bit of racism to really make it absolutely unbearable. I come in, I get dressed, and immediately this person I've had non-stop issues with, who's complained about so many girls, something in me that just said, I'm not doing it. Like, this is New Year's Eve, girl. Like, you picked the wrong day to try this shit with me. We all deal with a little discrimination here and there throughout our lives, throughout our days. I've become numb to it. I understand it is a reality. You can't be pop off, patty every time something happens you don't like. You just got to keep it moving. But when it comes to me and affects my money and affects my ability to make it, then we got a full stop situation and we got to address it. And that's what happened this day. I addressed it. Making more money is always on the list of things to do, on the short list. But this year is really my year to just buckle down every day, even if I'm not feeling up to working, just getting up and going anyways and making whatever I can make. It's easy to discourage yourself from working as hard as you could because you tell yourself, oh, what if it's not a good night? What if it's not a good day? What if, you know, no one comes in? What if it's just a weird vibe? You know, the worst case scenario is you go home with nothing, and that's very, very rare. You're gonna at least leave with something, at least something to cover your gas expenses or your travel expenses. So just go. Just, you know, they say, like, I don't know what the quote is, but the hardest part about working hard and, you know, whatever it is, your business, just showing up for yourself, is just getting there, showing up every single day and doing it. And that is such a true statement. Like, it's like almost like a mental thing where you have to trick yourself into just getting up and going. We're going to take the last bit of this Morphe setting spray to set all of that on our face. This is how I'm going to go into work today. So, oh, also, if you wanted to add highlight, the highlight I use is by Becca. I use, I think this is champagne, no, this is Prosecco Pop. Until next time, be well, be safe, and happy 2022, guys.